Hi, I'm doing a video on different temperaments of children and kind of defining that in my own way with my own examples and things. I am not necessarily in a place to act it out, nor would I necessarily do a good job at that, but I can explain things, and so that is what I'm going to try to do using some of my notes here. So children generally are broken down into three main temperaments, and these temperaments kind of help guide understanding a child and parenting and just interacting with that child. The three are going to be an easy temperament, a slow to warm temperament, and a difficult temperament. These patterns are going to kind of describe their behavior, their emotions, their social interactions, and they're really evident from really young, even infants, up until, adolescence and even further on. And so when it comes to an easy temperament, this is going to be a generally adaptable and positive kid that might have like mild reactions to things, but is generally pretty easy to bounce back and not really too alarmed or anything like that. They have easy routines such as regular sleeping habits and eating habits, and are generally okay with a new experience or going into something with curiosity and openness, and are easygoing. You think of the kid that is easily coddled back to being soothed, or a child who is okay with, plans change and they just kind of adapt and go with the flow. Then on the polar opposite is going to be a more difficult child. The temperament is going to be intense reactions to stimuli. I mean, they're not going to like when things just rapidly change. It's going to upset them viscerally, and you're going to see that in the way they react and the emotions that they have. They'll be highly active, they'll be irritable, they'll have like irregular sleeping patterns or trouble sleeping, as well as irregular eating habits. They're the kids that you cannot seem to soothe. The ones that generally, when plans change, that really throws them off, or if they get overstimulated or whatever, it's a bigger deal, and it's harder to bring them back to that calm normal, and it takes a lot more patience and understanding and persistence. And then kind of in the middle of the two is going to be that slow to warm. It's going to be somebody who's cautious and maybe not the best with unfamiliar situations, similar to the difficult temperament, but they slowly are able to acclimate and be warmed up, slow to warm, to the situation and to the new norm of whatever. I didn't necessarily see too much about eating and sleeping habits. I think it's probably somewhere in the middle of maybe kind of changes might be weird, but they kind of can build habits over time. But I did see a lot more about them being a reserved type of kid, somebody who observes and watches and kind of is feeling things out from afar, which is not really similar to either of the others and really sets them apart. And I think, to take it into a personal realm, I was definitely a difficult child, and I think it was very evident, and bless my mother's heart for dealing with it. I hated change. I hated unpredictability. When things overstimulated me, like visuals or auditory things, or even the way my clothes felt, I would just be inconsolable, and it would take me forever to come down. I had chronic anxiety that kept me from sleeping almost every night. I would be up sick until 2 a.m. and then sleeping until 7, and then up and then taking a nap. And I was a picky eater, and I wouldn't eat for a whole day if nobody would give me the food that I wanted. I mean, I was kind of a hellish kid in a lot of ways. But I think as I grew up, I became a little bit more slow to warm. I kind of backed up, I think, with the help of medication and speaking to professionals, to be able to observe and to kind of go in cautiously and go in kind of fearful and anxious, but get through it and learn that new situations could be okay. And so I do think that that speaks to the fact that these aren't necessarily end-all be-alls of temperament, and temperament can shift, though generally they're pretty stable in the way that a child is to the way an adolescent is going to be, and maybe even into your adulthood. And so I think this is a really important topic to be learning about and to be cognizant of as you work with children or have children of your own, so that you understand why it's happening and hopefully better ways to react in situations due to understanding why that's happening. And so I thought this was a very good topic to make sure that I had learned more about, and just I think in general for a lot of people to learn more about. So hopefully this video gives me some points. I know it's not a reenactment like the example video, but hopefully I was able to show you that I have learned quite a bit about this, and something I hadn't ever known before. I didn't know I was a difficult child until I learned kind of about temperaments, and so thank you.